Hi there, and welcome to STEM Inspired, where we utilize personal stories and experiences to interest the possibility of a STEM profession. I am your host, Colleen Tabor. Today we have Leah Zaragoza. She is an aeronautical engineer and works for the United States Navy. She is an avid gamer and her favorite is Zelda. I think you will be inspired after hearing her story. So, good morning. Would you please tell me your name and what you do for a living?
My name is Leah Zaragoza, and I am an aerospace engineer working for the Navy.
So, what is a typical day at your job?
Normally, I'm in a lab, M&S lab, modeling and simulation, and I'm usually turning on multiple computers a day and getting sims up and running and testing to make sure that the aircraft in the sims are working correctly and flying simulations all day. It's basically like playing a video game all day long.
What's the favorite part of your job?
Blowing stuff up.
What is the most rewarding part of your job?
The most rewarding thing is able to help the warfighter, actually, to make sure that our sailors are safe when they go out there and to support them.
Has that changed over the years?
Yes and no. It's still bottom line yes, but now I do also STEM outreach a lot. We do a lot of STEM tours on base, and it's always fun to have kids running around and see their faces light up when they get to see all the cool stuff we get to do.
So when you were young, what did you dream of becoming?
Initially, when I was really young, me and my best friend, she would be the actress, and I would be the director.
Fun.
Obviously, I'm not in the movie industry, but, you know, it's a start.
What kind of movies would you do?
Probably sci-fi, Disney movies. I love animated Disney movies. Video game movies, actually, too. There's not really that many good video game movies out there, so it would be cool to actually do one.
Would you tell me briefly how you decided to become an aeronautical engineer?
Thinking about what I wanted to do when I got out of high school. Well, I like airplanes, so, and I love puzzles, and so it seemed like the most logical choice is to work on airplanes, so that's how I kind of decided what I wanted to do.
What are your most vivid childhood memories?
Playing video games. My favorite series is the Legend of Zelda series. There's a lot of puzzles, a lot of adventure in it. I just love doing puzzles.
So in a sense, you've got to recreate your childhood dreams and make it into your career.
Kind of, yeah.
So who was or still is the biggest influence in your life?
Probably my mom. She's probably the one that's pushed me to do what I want to do, and she's the one that's always kind of just helped me along the way and made sure that I got everything that I needed to succeed.
What do you wish you had known before you started your profession?
It's not like school.
In what way?
A lot of ways. What you study in school might not necessarily be what you do at work. You go through all this theory in school, and a lot of times you don't use that in the workplace. You use the principles behind it versus the actual theory itself. So let's say, you know, in school you do all this math equations and you work on this one problem in school, and you might not necessarily be working on that exact kind of type of work at work, but you still have to use the logic and reasoning that you use behind that kind of homework.
What advice would you give students who are thinking about becoming a STEM professional?
It's hard. I'm not going to lie about that. It's a lot of hard work, but if it's something you're interested in, go for it. you'll make mistakes along the way and you'll learn from them, but at the same time, it's a very rewarding choice, and we do get to have a lot of fun.
So it makes the hard work worth it.
Yes.
Have you personally experienced barriers, either real or perceived, in your STEM career?
It is still a male-dominated industry. I definitely have had times where I felt like I was, you know, because I'm female, there's things that are perceived that I can or can't do, or I do things differently. And you know, there are guys that are sympathetic as well. They usually understand. Sexism, yeah, there's still a few guys out there, but for the most part, most of the guys just don't care. They just want to have fun and get the work done as well. So,
how important has mentorship been in your career?
Very important. So I actually have several mentors. You don't have to have just one mentor. You can have several, and it's good to have mentors that are also not in the workplace. It's good to have personal mentors as well, and you know, because they'll have different outlooks on how to proceed and different life experiences that they can bring to help you, guide you along your way.
How would you give your younger self advice on how to manage through different difficulties that you have today?
I would probably tell my younger self not to give up. That everything that you're going to struggle through is going to be worth it in the end. So I have a physical condition. I have scoliosis, so I had a lot of pain growing up, constant pain, and I'm stubborn. So I definitely did not let that get in the way of what I wanted to do.
Why is it important to establish and encourage an environment which fills STEM careers with diverse individuals?
Everybody has different paths in life, and sometimes your solution isn't the only solution. Somebody might have a better solution out there, and you might be able to come with a better product, better idea that you yourself could not have thought of.
What do you wish you had known before you started your profession?
It's not like school.
In what way?
A lot of ways. What you study in school might not necessarily be what you do at work. You go through all this theory in school, and a lot of times you don't use that in the workplace. You use the principles behind it versus the actual theory itself.
So how long have you been working at the base?
I have been working on base, and this is my first job since college. I got hired right after college for 9.5 years.
And have you been doing the same job there?
No. So the young engineers, they actually make them rotate through and do different jobs. So you go through a different group, and you work with that group for 3 months to 6 months, and they basically want you to get an overall experience. So if you didn't like the first job you got hired into, you have an option of changing and going to a different group and working with a different group. And I work with UAVs, so
What's a UAV?
A UAV is an unmanned aerial vehicle, and we actually use those as targets. So we pretend to be the bad guys.
And so the unmanned aerial vehicle is a remote control?
Yeah, so there's nobody in the cockpit. So one UAV that we fly is called the Flycatcher. It was the first UAV insurgents surrendered to during the Gulf War. They no longer use them as a military UAV. They got rid of them, and we acquired them. And what we did is we stripped out all the old avionics into it. We put in new autopilot, so it's more of a new vehicle, digital versus analog kind of thing. And we fly it using a ground control station.
So how did you get your job at the base? How did you hear about it?
They had, I went to UC Irvine, and they had one of the career fairs there, and there was a recruiter for NavAir, which is the part of the Navy that I work for. And
was it your first choice?
No, it was not. But again, just because it's not your first choice doesn't mean you won't end up enjoying it. UCLA was my first choice in college. Didn't get into that, but now looking back, I'm glad I actually went to Irvine instead. Hopefully somebody is inspired by this.
I think they will be. Thank you.